Guys, welcome to the channel. On today's video, we are going to try and get this FTX Super Forza, this 1/7 scale street car, to break 100 mile an hour. And it could possibly make it the world's fastest FTX Super Forza. I'm not sure, but we're going with it. So I am off to Arrma in a few weeks, which is held on a runway, and it is the radio operated something speed association. So the perfect opportunity to take this big beast and see how fast we can go. Out the box I got 60 something mile an hour, I think, and then I increased the pinion to, I think it's still fitted, I think it was like a 22 or maybe a 24 tooth pinion, and on a very sketchy road and a very sketchy run I got 81 mile an hour. No, whoa, 81 mile an hour, and that was all on stock electronics. Dual batteries. It's got 150 amp hobby wing, well, it's OEM hobby wing, and it will run up to 6S LiPo. And then it's got a 2000 kV, again rebranded OEM hobby wing motor. Sure, this is like a max 8-ish ESC. It's got centre diff, it's also got a brake on it, loads of nice alloy parts on it, machine shock towers, pillar ball steering. Although the chassis and design isn't anything like the Arrma's, the concept of it is very much like the Infraction, especially with that handbrake or that e-brake that's fitted. Well, I say Infraction, it's more like the Felony because it's got like the wider rear to front wheels. I like the little quick release gear cover as well. I put it back to stock actually. After I'd done the speed run to see how fast it was, I took it for a hoon around. Destroyed the original tyres because I set the camber wrong at the rear, so that's why it's got Arrma D boots on it, but I have got the original wheels. So for the initial runs, I'm going to be using a set of new stock wheels and tyres. See if they're good for that high speed. They're belted and stuff, so they should be okay. So how am I going to get this over 100 mile an hour? Well, as you can see already, we're a bit tight for space on motors. Can't go much bigger than that. That's a 4274 size motor. I got this easy run 4278, so slightly longer, but we should fit it in there. And this is from Hobby Wing. This is one of the new G2 censored motors. This is uncensored, a censored motor, much smoother control, a little bit more tunable, programmable, and that's going to be paired up to the G2 Max 8. Different to the old ones because this has got a sensor lead on it. Again, same as what's fitted, it will run up to 6S LiPo. Now this motor has powered my old Infraction up to 105 mile an hour. $105 mile an hour. I've finally done it. So I think this, fitted in this, with the right gearing, will have enough power to get over 100 mile an hour. The question is, will this body have enough aero to keep it on the ground? Now a bonus for this is it's got Velcro on the sides. So once it's on, you can stick the sides down. One of the biggest things for going fast is letting air underneath and it parachuting, whereas keeping them sides secure is a big thing. If you watch this clip of my Infraction, you'll know exactly what I mean. Oh no, not in the mud, not in the mud. Ah. Oh. I've got this radio link and I've got a booster coming for it as well, so we'll fit one of them receivers. So this should be a relatively simple swap. Motor out, ESC out, new one in. Done. So motor's in, I had to just modify the mount a little bit and bring it right out to pretty much on the limit. That was so I could get a 27 tooth pinion. That's the speed pinion from the Arrma, but it's meshed nicely. The motor, absolutely no room for any more in there. So 4278 is about as far as you can go. So in the box for this, you get 2 sets of springs. You get hard springs and then you get some soft springs. Then I'm guessing the ones that are fitted are medium. So common sense would be to fit the harder springs so the suspension doesn't push down as much when we're going, well, hopefully 100 mph plus. Done the rears already. I've also restricted it. It's still got some movement. It is very stiff now, but it doesn't quite ground out. So I'm going to do the same on the front. I'm going to swap the wheels over. I also realised something. So I've taken that cover off. So that's that awkward cover that was on there. And I'm no aero expert, but that has left a nice channel down the middle there. Now, the faster you can get air underneath and out, the better for downforce, because the slower the air is on top, the more it's going to push down on it. So I'm going to leave that out. I'll take it with me just in case, but I think that that's actually going to add a little bit of aero to it, having that channel in there, because it's really going to accelerate the air going underneath. Adrian Newey from Red Bull, watch out. So I managed to get out onto an old runway. Well, it's still in use, but it's a bit rough. This Max 8 G2, it's a proper little ripper. Head up to that 4278 motor. Maxed out on gearing. First pass, almost hit triple figures. Going into the wind, and as soon as I lost a bit of control, just flipped it. Happened a couple of times. Oh, dearie mate. So I went the opposite way, found a good line, wind behind me, and look at the results. Yeah, 103, 103 mile an hour. I'm going to gear up ever so slightly. I'm going to remove that so we can go out a little bit further. It'll hold. It'll be fine for a single pass, and I can tighten it up and check it again. So R7FG radio link receiver, dual aerials, and then the servo I'm using is an e-tronics. It's a 2072. I'll put the specs on the screen, but it's powerful, it's fast, and it's pretty well priced as well. As long as we can keep it on the ground, we can beat the Infraction's 105. I was running the silver Hoons this time, so I didn't want to trash the new ones. These are really slippery. They're quite a hard compound, so they're really slippery. Sticking a brand new set of stock ones on, a little bit softer compound. And the other thing is the front suspension, just too soft. If you listen on that run, just it goes away from me and veers off a bit. This front's proper dragging on the floor. Gonna stiffen up the front, probably leave it at about that height. Then the rear I'm gonna try and lift a little bit more, and I reckon we can push for 110. Gonna make these changes, and then as long as the weather holds up, gonna go and run it at Rossa. So day one at Rossa was very wet and pretty windy. And as you can see, it was also pretty slippery. No official runs due to the weather, but all things considered, that's pretty fast. I didn't want to destroy it before any of the official runs, so I called it a day. Luckily, day two was dry. It was still a bit windy, and first run. Right, 100 mile an hour hat, this.
You reckon? Oh, is this it?
Could be.
Come on then, Phil.
If I can get it through the traps. Car 76, 6S.
What was it?
102.
So now that was ticked off the box, it was just about getting a PB and beating my infraction speed. Trap speed was 101 or whatever it was, and then I checked the GPS.
So 102 through the traps. GPS says 109. I was still accelerating, obviously.
Yeah.
GPS 109 on that.
How do you think of run up?
It was still accelerating. I need a bigger run up, don't I?
The turbo boost on this was switched up to 32 degrees, so at full throttle, it increased the timing by 32 degrees. So as I went through the traps, it was obviously still accelerating, 109 mile an hour. So day three, I switched out the front diff for a rear one, which would change my overall gear ratio, and it also meant I could run the same size wheels on both axles. And being that the Contact RC foams are a little bit bigger, this is also going to give me a little bit more gearing.
There it is, all finished. Rear diff in the front. Obviously, we haven't got the wide wheels on the back now, so yeah, that might help. Airflow over there, you never know. But we're all ready to see if we can push past 109 to beat on the GPS. And I think it was 101 through the traps, maybe. I'm hoping for about 112 or 113, I think.
Straight on there.
Yeah, sweet. Let's go Super Forza.
it just wouldn't hook up, and the foam seemed to be less stable than the stock wheels.
Well, let's try again. I think it just caught the wind. .94. It, as soon as that turbo kicks in, the boost is too much. Yeah, 101.
So although changing the diff over and putting the bigger wheels on, it should have given it a bit more speed. It just didn't seem as stable as it did with the stock wheels.
See if we can do a pass without any pressure on us to not hit the speed traps. It's got so much power. See that smoke? Wow, that was full throttle for quite some time. Oh, 107. So, putting the diff in, putting foams on, we've destroyed more of it than, well, running it stock wheels and tyres and stock diff. With 109 we got. It's mad. Oh, I've lost a wing mirror as well. Foam, ta-da! Retrieved. The wind's got a bit of an angle on it, so it had a tiny bit of headwind then. That might have been keeping it a bit more stable. I don't know, but let's go back to the workshop.
So what's next for this? Well, before we talk about that, there was another Super Forza GT at Rossa. That one's owned by a guy called Nick, who works at Model Sport in the UK. He's actually been there quite a long time as well. It seems nobody got a video of it running, but look how fast it went. So that means mine isn't the world's fastest FTX Super Forza, although I'm claiming world's fastest stock-bodied Super Forza. Well, stock body and stock wheels, because it done 109 without these ones. So I'm claiming that record. And what I've decided to do with this now is I'm putting that front diff back in. I'm putting the stock wheels back on. I'm going to gear it back down, but I'm going to keep that Max 8 G2 because it's such an awesome combo. And finally, well, it really does need this. A fresh, new body. These things are awesome.